This is Surrey County Cricket Club. Born in a tavern in 1845. The symbol of Kennington, we've seen London grow around us. Cricket's original champions, as Charles Alcock brought his vision to life and we cemented a reputation as a place of firsts. International football, FA Cup finals, international rugby, test matches, as well as where English pride came to die, before a great rivalry was born from its ashes. We share our feathers with royalty and pass on the honour of the brown cap through generations. We've seen England's best spend their careers with us.
Well, that's Jack Hobbs. Head and shoulders, yes, over all other living batsmen.
And the game's best finish under our gasometer. We've won 7 in a row thanks to Surridge, May, Barrington, Locke, Laker and the Bedser twins. In fact, we're well known for our famous siblings, but there's always been one family who've stood out. We saw the West Indies grip a nation on our doorstep, and a pioneer set records galore in the women's game. The end of the century brought a fresh take on Ik Dien, as Holyoake and his England teammates transformed us on the pitch. The changing of the oval skyline brought the greatest of finales.
There it is. England have regained the ashes.
And an era of final test triumphs.
Alistair Cook has done it. A century in his last. Well played.
On our way to our own red ball century. We're one half of the game's oldest rivalry and its only London derby.
Can you clear the pavilion?
Local players are always the lifeblood of our side. But the world's best are attracted to us too. We've come through tragedies. Now we're home to world champions and cricketers of the year. 175 years have passed. There's much more to come. This is Surrey County Cricket Club, heart of London, pride of the county, the grandest stage in world cricket.
Well, a very good morning and welcome to the Kia Oval here on BBC Radio London, BBC Radio Essex, BBC Radio 5 Sports Extra, joining us in a few moments' time, and on the Surrey live stream for the final day of this First Division clash in the Championship between Surrey and Essex. Morning to you all. A cloudy day today. It's a bit cooler as well, actually, I have to say. It seems a long time ago that it was the hottest day ever in this country on the opening day of this game, but today, very interestingly poised. This has been a tremendous game of cricket, and Surrey start this morning 85 for 2, needing a further 76 runs for victory. Their target 161 after Essex yesterday, all out for 208 at one stage. Essex 118 for 3 at lunch. But then Kemar Roach with 3 wickets, Dan Worrell with 5, Simon Harmer, very good effort, 38 not out at the end, all out for 208. Then Rory Burns and Ryan Patel played very solidly up top and got Surrey off just to a good solid start until Rory Burns was caught looking to sweep Simon Harmer off the top edge by Dan Lawrence for 40, and then Hashim Amla, who came out and was reverse sweeping Simon Harmer straight away. Amla went for 16. Good ball from Shane Snater, just climbed on him outside edge, and the catch taken by Harmer, and Amla gone for 16. They sent out Tom Laws as the night watchman. Just discussing, Mr. Ricky Clark is alongside me, whether T Laws might be told to be the night hawk this morning, but we'll find that out later. And Ryan Patel, very solid, sensible innings from Ryan Patel, 22 not out off 108 balls with 1 boundary. So, all to play for this morning. I think whatever happens, it'll be done by lunch. And Ricky Clark, good morning to you. And we were just saying, actually, if you want to win the championship, these are the games where it doesn't matter how you do it, but you get over the line, don't you? And Surrey will come this morning and sort of say to themselves, let's not have too many dramas, let's get those 76 runs. Essex will be saying, let's give it one big go and see if we can cause an absolute wobble in that Surrey dressing room.
Yep, good morning Churchy, good morning everyone. Exactly that. I think it's a case of what they did last night, Surrey, particularly with Rory Burns and Ryan Patel. It was very measured, it was just sensible batting, play the ball on its merits, and you got bags of time to get these runs. You don't need to do something silly. It'd be interesting to see if Surrey do say to Tom Laws, the night watchman, though, you know, not reckless, but play your shots, you know, try and take a big dent in this total and the chase they need to complete. And Ryan Patel should just bat the way he does, and obviously Surrey have got loads of batting to come. They always can be tricky chases. From Essex point of view, they'll be saying, look, let's try and get a couple of early wickets and create a bit of a wobble in that Surrey dressing room. So it is evenly poised, but I'd rather be in the Surrey camp at this moment in time.
Start with Harmer and either Porter Snater or Cook from the other end?
I think you have to look that Harmer will go from that pavilion end, and then you rotate your seamers as much as you can, protect the boundary where you can, and obviously keep people tight in, so sort of in outfields. But I think it will be an interesting session. As I say, as you said, I can't see it going past that. Either way, we will have a result, and it'd be interesting to see if there is a little bit more turn. Obviously, a lot of bowling has been round the wicket to left-handers, so there's going to be traffic outside the right-handers off stump for Harmer to work with. We've seen the odd ball turn, but obviously Surrey are used to playing on spinning decks here, and they've got a very fine lineup.
They have. Well, I was just saying, actually, next on the card is England's number 3, of course, in the shape of Ollie Pope. So still plenty of batting to come. Yeah, Tom Laws, that's an interesting one, actually, because a 20 or a 25 from Tom Laws takes a chunk out of that, and takes a little bit of pressure off Ryan Patel, I suppose. Yeah,
you know, obviously a night watchman comes in and does the job of protecting the in batter. There could have been scope for last night. I think he had 4 balls or 3 balls to face, and the field was in. He could have said, you know what, I'm going to chance my arm now and try and get a quick 12 runs or something like that, and just give it a whack. But it'd be interesting to see if they say to him, just go out and play, or if they say, look, try and be a little bit more positive in certain areas. Pick your options, you know, don't be reckless with it. Still pick an option and try and find your boundary. But just a little bit more positive, and that's the thing with it as well. Then that makes Essex go, hang on a minute, we've got to try and chase wickets rather than just building the pressure with dots and good deliveries.
Because in many ways he's already done his job, Tom Laws, in the fact that he got 3 last night, he got Ryan Patel up the other end, saw out the last over. So in many ways for him, not so much a free hit, but he's already done it. If you look at the job description of a night watchman, he's sort of got the job now, hasn't he? He would have passed the interview last night, and he'd be on his first day of work today. But now he can. Now he's got a little bit of freedom this morning, hasn't he? Yeah,
potential licence. It's just a question of what the message is to him. Ryan Patel was obviously just going to bat how Ryan Patel bats, but it's just a question of, is there a message to Tom Laws to say, look, go out, be positive, pick your areas, and you know, sort of take the attack back to Essex. And then once you see that total coming down a lot quicker, then Essex will start going, hang on a minute, we've got to try and search for wickets. When you search for wickets, that's when it becomes easy to score.
Absolutely. Welcome to listeners on BBC Radio 5 Sports Extra. The voice of Ricky Clark, who's alongside Jeremy Coney here as well again today, and Dick Davis. And he'll be with us, of course, throughout this morning. But yeah, I think it's fair to say either way, we'll be done by lunchtime today. It's free entry today as well for everybody. So if you're nearby and you fancy coming and watching a couple of hours of what has been a terrific game of cricket, it really has, then I'd thoroughly recommend it, because the weather's okay at the moment and much cooler than the first day. Interestingly, Ricky Clark, now Mark Church, hard-hitting investigative journalist, as you know, interviewed Kemar Roach last night, and the final question was, Kemar, oh, thank you so much for bringing the good weather back, and da-da-da-da-da. And he said on the first day it was too hot. So even Kemar Roach said it was too hot on the first day, but he does look a lot happier. Because as I say, Birmingham, Edgbaston, first game of the season, Kemar had every item of clothing he's ever had worn, but still had a big grin on his face. but I think he's much happier in this weather. But even Kemar said it was too hot on the first day. The hottest day ever, of course, we can officially say, as umpires Warren and Hartley make their way out into the middle, and then Essex, led out by Tom Westley, make their way out, and then Ryan Patel and Tom Laws make their way down the steps and out into the middle. So just the equation for you again. Surrey 85 for 2. They need another 76. 161 the target. And I was asked the question this morning, you know, yesterday, would Surrey have been happy with where they find themselves this morning? 100%. They'd have not only bitten your hand off, they'd have had a big chunk of other things as well, I'm sure, at that time of the morning to say thank you very much indeed to be chasing 161. And Tom Laws and Ryan Patel out there in the middle. Patel will be on strike because Laws saw out the last over last night. And yes, what will be very interesting, I was thinking these situations, it's interesting to see how the batting side will go about it, but it's very interesting to see how the bowling side go about it as well, just to try and get a wobble and a bit of pressure.
Yeah, I think from my point of view, as a bowling unit for Essex, you don't do anything different. You have to put the ball in the right areas, create the pressure that way. Fielders have to help out the bowlers. But it's not a case of chasing wickets and going for that miracle ball. It's all about building the pressure, and it's who lasts patience-wise, I think, here, Churchy. You know, if a bowler can hold his patience and a batter equally, you got good cricket. You know, for a bowler, he needs to just put it in the right area and just force that sort of full shot from a batter. And for a batter, it's just to wait for a bowler to lose his patience and then come into your area and you can score freely.
Absolutely. So Ryan Patel will be on strike, the left-hander, in his short-sleeve sweater. He will start today, 22 not out, and Shane Snater, with his bandana, who picked up the wicket of Hashim Amla last night, will start from the Vauxhall end, round the wicket to Ryan Patel, and the first ball is short, and it's turned into the leg side by Ryan Patel. Dan Lawrence comes round under his white floppy sun hat to do the fielding. And there is no run, but Ryan Patel did the job he had to do last night, didn't he? Just got his head down, grounded out, and by getting Surrey off to a solid start, what Essex would have said yesterday is, what would be interesting, gentlemen, is if we arrived this morning and Surrey were 5 down. That would be interesting. But by being just a 2 down and Laws getting through last night, as Snater's round the wicket to Patel, and Patel just turns this one into the leg side, and the first 2 balls of the day by Shane Snater, he's getting Ryan Patel playing. No sighters. Ryan Patel's had to play both deliveries this morning. Umpire Hartley stood at this Vauxhall end, umpire Russell away at square leg. They both had busy games because there's been a lot of shouts for LBW during this game.
Yeah, we've seen the ball moving consistently through the air and the odd bit off the pitch, and obviously a little bit of turn as well, so umpire's been busy with good bowling.
Around the wicket again goes Snater. That's well bowled right up there to Ryan Patel, and Patel again has to play this. Pushes up towards Paul Walter, tall figure of. Stood up there at a wideish mid-off. We'll keep an eye on all the other games, of course, as well this morning, because last days means results are possible. And at Cheltenham today, Gloucestershire start the day 191 for 4, following on against Hampshire, so still trailing by the 65 runs. Raining in Taunton again. So there's been a bit of rain in Taunton during this game. And Somerset will start 225 for 6 against Yorkshire, as Ryan Patel forward again just clips this one up towards Tom Westley. The captain stood up there at mid-on, and there's no run. Kent have forced their way back into the game quite brilliantly at Edgbaston. And Kent declared yesterday 384 for 9 declared. Did you see what Mr. Milnes did yesterday?
I thought it was Quinn.
Or was it Quinn? It was Quinn. Well, somebody, wasn't it?
It's on social media.
Wandered out there, one ball, belted it for 6 and walked off. And they declared.
Didn't even take a guard either.
Didn't take a guard. No, just belted it and walked off. As round the wicket comes Snater once again. And forward comes Patel. Plays this one up the ground again. Westley does the fielding. Stood up there at mid-on. Very good start this from Shane Snater. 5 balls. And Ryan Patel's had to play every single one. And Northamptonshire and Lancashire need a further 80. 198 for 5. So Northamptonshire still in that one. So there could be in the first division some interesting results today. But at Taunton it's raining, unfortunately, as Round the wicket goes Snater. And Ryan Patel forcing off the back foot uppishly, but down towards third man, and it's our first run of the day. And a single off the over means Tom Laws is still waiting for a delivery. 86 for 2, Surrey requires 75.
Interesting one for me. I've noticed there's no helmets out there, so it will be double seam, which I find quite interesting. Obviously we saw Harmer get a little bit of purchase last night, went close to the off stump of Tom Laws, and obviously coming off the back of 28 wickets in his previous 2 first-class matches, but it will be double seam.
Yep, and there's the old pro for you, everybody, in the fact that by that Ricky Clark means that there's no helmets behind Rossington. So that means no close catchers, which means it's going to be the seamers to start, because you often see them when it's a spinner, don't you, with, well, 3 helmets sometimes behind
keepers,
the
short leg, and
everybody else. But there are no helmets out there at the moment, apart from on the head of the batters, of course. And it's going to be Jamie Porter from the pavilion end, and he's going to come round the wicket to the left-handed Ryan Patel on 23. He's got a short mid-wicket catch in there. As Cook, apologies, comes round the wicket to Ryan Patel, turns this one into the leg side. So Sam Cook, my apologies, Sam Cook to get us started from the pavilion end. And Ryan Patel just turns that one into the leg side. Interesting position there for Ryan Patel. It's sort of your old school silly mid-on, isn't it?
Yeah, I think obviously both seamers so far this morning coming round the wicket. They're going to be challenging the defence of Ryan Patel and look to bring those pads into play, try and get it nice and straight and get him working around his front pad.
And again, it's Cook. Forward goes Patel, plays this ball solidly, straight back up the pitch, and there's no run. Morning to Andrew, who's listening in from the Bay of Biscay, and says, well, it looks lovely there. Sort of on a patioed area with the sea in front of him, with his feet up. That does. Where's the Bay of Biscay again, Ricky Clark?
You're asking the wrong.
You're a teacher.
Not of geography.
Well, I don't know. You might be pulling your hand on everything at the moment.
Greek and Latin.
As forward goes Patel, and that beats the outside edge of Ryan Patel. That didn't get that high either.
It didn't get that high, and then just looking at the replay, that has narrowly missed the off stump. It was on the angle, obviously from around the wicket from Sam Cook, and Ryan Patel didn't really do a lot wrong. He's just signalling there. That's just kept really low, and it's almost gone under his bat, I feel.
Interesting from Sam Cook. I think the Bay of Biscay's Spain way, isn't it? I think. As waiting again is Ryan Patel, as round the wicket comes Cook and runs for Ryan Patel. Down towards long leg this one goes, and there's water to do the fielding. So Laws comes onto strike for the first time this morning, and Patel's on to 24, 87 for 2. Wherever it is, it looks lovely.
I'll take your word for it if you're saying it's in Spain.
I think it's Spain way, the Bay of Biscay.
They can tweet back in, can they?
Yeah, people can let us know where the Bay of Biscay is. Of course, yesterday it was all about Wookey Hole Cheddar and Cheddar Gorge yesterday, but today it's the old Bay of Biscay. It's a good name for a band, that. As 2 slips in there, third man, a short extra cover for the right-handed Laws, backward point mid-off, mid-on, mid-wicket, and a long leg. As Cook's into Laws, and Laws covers up, gets solidly in behind this one, plays it back up the pitch, and there's no run. If you're just joining us, good morning to you here on BBC Radio 5 Sports Extra, BBC Radio London, BBC Radio Essex, and the Surrey live stream. Surrey have added a couple this morning, so they're now 87 for 2, needing a further 74 runs for victory. Ryan Patel's got both those runs, he's 24, and the night watchman Tom Laws has faced the 1 delivery so far this morning, getting ready for his 2nd delivery. Sam Cook is over the wicket to Laws, an outside edge from Laws, but that'll fly away down towards third man. Just a couple of slips at this stage. Messrs Cook and Harmer. Walter does the fielding. End of the over. 3 runs added this morning, and Surrey 88 for 2. 73 more runs needed. Laws has 1. Ryan Patel has 24. But whatever happens here overall, what a great game of cricket this has been, Ricky Clark.
Really good game of cricket we've seen throughout the 4 days. Started even obviously this morning, 2 sides going at it. It's just been to and fro, hasn't it? sides grabbing the initiative back and pushing back and stuff like that. We've seen Essex 91 for 6. We managed to get up to their total of 271, and then Surrey 112 for 7 to put on another, what was it, 219 or 9 or something like that, to get to their total of 319 with those last 3 wickets, where the tail enders have faced 170 balls.
Yeah.
And Will Jacks was just fantastic, wasn't he? His ball striking and the maturity of the innings.
Snater coming in over the wicket then to Tom Laws, and Laws is solidly forward, plays a good length ball back up the pitch, and there's no run. Yes, awarded his first 11 cap, of course, yesterday, Will Jacks. Now then, Ricky Clark, if you're ever having to jump into a geography lesson, Phil and James, thank you very much for this. The Bay of Biscay is the west of France, north of Spain. So it's Spain, France. I was almost right. The Atlantic coast of France. So thank you very much. There you are.
There's my cover lesson when I get geography.
Where is the Bay of Biscay?
Chuck that question out there for the
absolutely.
boys and girls in a lesson.
Absolutely. As over the wicket comes Snater once more. Short one. Oh, and he's looking to have a hook here is Tom Laws. Bit late on that. And that's taken by Rossington. High above his right shoulder. So positive approach from Tom Laws. But he was a little bit late on that hook shot. Ryan Patel just wanders down for a quiet word with him. You could do sort of, I made my test debut in A, which country is that in? That'd be quite fun, wouldn't it? That'd be quite fun. Waiting once again is the right-handed Laws. Over the wicket once more comes Slater, goes wider of the crease this time. Forward comes Laws, punches up towards mid-on. Tom Wesley does the fielding. I knew it was somewhere near Spain, the old Bay of Biscay. But Spain, France,
yeah.
Really, you could sort of go to both, I suppose, on your boat. If that's what is your way. Yes. Slater wearing his bandana again. A big white bandana, pushing his hair back off his eyes as he is over the wicket once again to Laws. Laws forward, thickish edge, just squirts away down into the gully region. Round comes Dan Lawrence to do the fielding. And there's no run, so creeping along Surrey this morning. 3 runs added, 88 for 2. Good number in actually already for this time of the day. And as I say, it's free entry today, so sun's out at the moment. So if you're nearby and you fancy a bit of cricket, interesting finish on the cards. 2 really good sides have gone head to head here over the first 3 days. Snater's over the wicket to Laws, lets this go. Does Tom Laws, climbs into the gloves of Adam Rossington, moving away to his right hand side. Bit of a breeze today. You can see the Surrey flag up there on top of the Mickey Stewart members pavilion, fluttering away that middle pole. Well, of course there is. When I was little, there was the wonderful Vic Marks book. You know about this? The Ultimate One-Day Game, which was like a role play. Vic basically was ahead of all these games consoles without realising it. As goes wide of the crease again, does Snater, and that just goes away outside the off stump. Laws plays the line of it, and it goes away and ends up in the gloves of Adam Rossington. Ended the over 88 for 2. But yeah, Vic's book was, basically you got a letter through the post telling you were going to captain the MCC against the rest of the world, and then sort of at the toss of the coin, if you decide to call heads, go to page 32. If you decide to go to, and then Abdul Qadir was playing and Imran Khan was playing, and it was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And yeah, as I always say to Vic, he was ahead of all these games consoles with his book. Still get it, I think. But yeah, kids might enjoy that.
So what we got a couple of years ago was the old school test match cricket.
It's a brilliant game.
Yeah, we put the arm down and it rolls down the metal ball and you pull the thing. Yeah, that'd come back.
Game. Brilliant game. That.
You have to get it onto like a
flat surface.
Yeah, onto a wooden ball, don't you? Glue it to there. So.
Oh, and I've got a tip on that as well. As round the wicket comes Sam Cook, and forward goes Patel.
You want a flat outfield, don't you? Get value for your shots.
The way to do that as well, everybody, is you can use an iron. You have to be very careful though, obviously, because and make sure that you're ironing it on a flat bit of ball, but turn the pitch over. So don't iron the front of the pitch because it has all the scoring zones in it, because the white stuff on that comes off on the iron. Turn it over. It's a little bit like the cricketing equivalent of Subbuteo, of course. And I had the old artificial pitch for my Subbuteo.
Oh, proper,
Proper. We went artificial, Dad and I. As round the wicket once again comes Cook, forward solidly again goes the left-handed Patel, plays this one back up the pitch, and there's no run. Yeah, we took it very seriously.
That allow you to get a little bit of lift over the wall for free kick.
I'll just say to
it.
everybody, the way that Ricky Clark is doing this is utterly illegal at the moment, because he's using the full finger for his flick. You can't be doing that, Clark. It's only the fingertip that you can do. You can't, because Dad used to basically use his entire hand and just whack all the team and the ball in the goal and go, that's legitimate, son. That's absolutely fine. And round the wicket once again goes Cook. Forward comes Ryan Patel.
I used to be an index side of the finger, just
not sure
dribbling. Is that
World
not allowed?
Championships, you're not allowed that. It's got to be
a fingernail.
Well, I think
rather than a side of the
serious point, because it's there are World Championships of Subbuteo, and I think the world champion has that finger insured, and also works very hard on hardening up his nails.
The money maker.
I saw a programme on it somewhere once, and yes. I think I'm right in saying that. As running towards us once again is Cook. Forward goes the left-handed Patel, plays this one down into the leg side, and there's no run. I remember, and I've said this before, but I remember saving up all my Tiger and Roy the Rovers tokens and getting the Manchester Rovers side sent, which had Roy Race in it, but he had blonde hair. So he had the full team in the little box, but Roy had blonde hair. So that I remember getting that. I think I've still got that somewhere, actually.
I think they're worth a lot of money now, actually.
Could be.
if you got them,
in the box,
the teams in the box and stuff,
and all that good stuff. As round the wicket again goes Cook. Oh no, he's not let the ball go here. He's overrun the crease a touch, so that'll be a dead ball.
Always nightmare when you lose one of them. Like the dog comes in from the garden and treads on one of them, and out for the season.
It's a disaster. That it really is. You'll be pleased to know I had the Tottenham team of the 80s as well.
Yeah, you've always got to have the Tottenham team.
With the old Coq Sportif. Yes. The blessed one didn't have long hair, though, unfortunately. As round the wicket once again comes Sam Cook to Patel. Patel is forward as the sun comes out and pushes this one straight back up the pitch, and there's no run. But yes, the Test match game. There'll be people out there who still got it. The Test match game, and it was... Yes, you used to roll the ball down the arm, didn't you? And then as the batter, you pulled it back, and then you had to time it. And then the fielders had a sort of little trap between their feet.
Yeah.
If it rolled in there, you were out.
It's the only time in cricket you want the ball to go through your legs.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's round the wicket once again comes Sam Cook. That's left alone by Ryan Patel. Outside his off stump, and then he practices a very ferocious-looking cut shot as that goes into the gloves of into the gloves of Rossington, and Snater comes marching back up. I found as well, I found the other day, I got a sort of a Test match cricket card game, and I found all my little scorecards in there as well, and I was opening the batting with Graham Fowler. I should have brought this in. I've just thought, Jay Coney's on the scorecard because it was against New Zealand. I'm going to bring that in next week. I must remind myself to bring that in because Jay Coney is on my scorecard, but it was Church and Fowler opening against New Zealand. I think Lamb was coming in somewhere, but Jay Coney was on that scorecard. In over the wicket comes Snater. Driving is Laws dropped at third slip. Tough chance, low down to Critchley's left. Would have been a great catch. Got a hand to it, but Laws has had a drive at that big edge. There's a bit of a gap. He's more a fourth slip than a third slip, and Critchley's flung himself, got a good hand to it, but down it's gone. So a life for Tom Laws, the night watchman. I suppose what Critchley will say to himself is, at least it wasn't Ryan Patel. It was the night watchman, but it's the first opportunity this morning for Essex, and down it goes as Snater over the wicket he comes once again, and Laws is forward again solidly. pushing this one up towards Tom Wesley at mid-on, and there's no run. It would have been a great catch.
It would have been a great catch, and it was a very, very difficult chance, but he made good ground to his left. They're actually quite close there, the slips. There's a big drive from Tom Laws and big dive to the left from Matt Critchley, and he felt disappointed because it almost looked like he had it, and then as he was about to land, it sort of just popped out. And for Essex, if it is going to be their day, they're going to need those sort of things to stick. So a nice life for Tom Laws. He'll be looking to make Essex pay.
88 for 2 as over the wicket comes Snater, and Laws lets this go. It just comes back at him. Bit of movement there, or it's a no ball from Snater, I think. The arm came out from umpire Hartley. Is that a signal of no ball? Yes, it was. 2 more go up on the... It was a quick no ball signal, that, from Peter Hartley. 90 for 2. But, yeah, the arm just came out from Pete Hartley and then straight down again. Seen by the scorers. So 90 for 2. So that's an extra couple of runs for Surrey. 71 more required by Surrey as Snater is in over the wicket. And that comes back again, and Laws. Very solid defensive shot from Tom Laws. Plays this one up towards mid-off. Good morning to Mark as well, who's been in touch, saying, a Yorkshire fan listening in. And morning to you, Mark, saying he reckons my Manchester Rovers team, if it's still in the box, would be worth a bob or two. I'm going to have to try and find that now. I remember saving up and saving up and saving up tokens for that. I was so excited when it came through. Roy Race, of course. 90 for 2. Surrey is in over the wicket once again. Comes Snater. That's on the leg swinging back in of Laws, and he turns that one up towards mid-on. And Nigel saying he's still got the test match game with both. That's the one I've got with Botham and Gower on the front. Yeah, front of the box.
Yeah, it was,
yeah,
wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's still got a white scoreboard, like the old scoreboard here. So yes, I think I had one of those, but I lost it. Lost the scoreboard, but I've definitely still got the test match game box with Botham and Gower on the front.
You can get the white picket fence that goes around
as
well.
Yep. I'm going to let you into a secret now. As in over the wicket once again comes Snater, short ball. That's hooked by the right-handed Laws out towards deep backward square. They'll pick up a single. Good shot from Laws. That banged in by Snater, moves on to 2, 91 for 2. So Dad and I took our Subbuteo quite seriously. Every Sunday, Dad and I would have a proper full-on game of Subbuteo. And we did one year treat ourselves to the floodlights. So we had the floodlights. But then, that enabled me with Test Match to have a bit of floodlit cricket as well. But we did, and pathetically, we used to shut the curtains, turn all the lights off, and then play floodlit Subbuteo in the afternoon. As over the wicket again comes Snater. Forward goes Patel, plays this one back up the pitch, rolls up there towards water at mid on end of the over. So quiet start this morning. Surrey just eking their way towards victory. 91 for 2 they are. Laws has 2, Patel has 24. Surrey requires 70 more for victory.
Yeah, pretty watchful start from Surrey. Obviously, half chance for Essex with that drive from Tom Laws. But it's good to see that they're just playing the ball on its merits. Take the runs as they come. Nothing silly.
Well, they've got all day. That's the thing. On the board, 91 overs to be bowled today. So 70 more needed off a minimum of 91 overs. As here is Sam Cook, and Laws is forward, pops it into the offside. Thought about a single. Little bit of hesitation between himself and Ryan Patel. So the required run rate is minus 0 point something at the moment for Surrey, if you wanted to go along those lines. But as we were saying, whatever happens, it should be done and dusted by lunchtime either way. This,
if it takes all 91 overs, it's definitely going against what England are looking to play at the moment.
Absolutely. As over the wicket once again comes Cook. Forward goes Laws, plays this one back up the pitch, and there's no run. There was a rugby Subbuteo game as well, but it wasn't great, I have to say. I never really quite got to grips with it. The scrums, it was a big sort of semicircular bit of plastic with a hole in the top, and then it had little holes around the corners, and you drop the ball in, and then it would like shoot out of one of the holes for your scrum. And it didn't really work, unfortunately. The passing was really tricky. As forward goes Laws, turns this one into the leg side. They'll pick up a single. Tom Laws moves on to 3, 92 for 2.
Someone running down the wing and just flick your guy from a distance to try and tackle.
It wasn't great, I have to say. The only fun bit of it was obviously trying to kick a penalty or a conversion, because I think you had a little man, you put it on a little tee and you pulled it back and the little man's leg went back and then you booted it. But the only problem was if you made a really good connection, the ball would fly and then you'd spend the rest of the game hunting around the front room to
under the
find
sofa.
out if it or something. As round the wicket once again goes Cook. And Patel gets a short one, pulling is Ryan Patel. Off goes Paul Walter. And Patel won't come back for 2 because Walter's got round quickly. Did very well there, Paul Walter. Slid and got up quickly. But they pick up another single. 68 more required by Surrey as they move on to 93 for 2. It's almost like this game's on tiptoes at the moment. Surrey just tiptoeing their way along. Perfectly understandable, because all day, doesn't matter how you get there, it's just to make sure that you do arrive at that 161. As Sam Cook is over the wicket once again to Laws. Laws is forward, plays this one back up the pitch, and there's no run. I think Hampshire have an early wicket at Cheltenham, so Gloucestershire now 201 for 5. So they still trail by 55, and of course Hampshire started this game in second spot, 15 points behind Surrey. So it's looking very likely there that Hampshire are going to pick up another win at Cheltenham, unless Gloucestershire can. They got themselves back into it. Yes, I think it was a Mars Hammond 100 yesterday, as Sam Cook is in and forward goes Laws, turns into the leg side. Yeah, Hammond's still up there, 117 not out, but Graham Van Buren gone for 29 this morning to your old mate Mr. Barker. And end of the over, 93 for 2. Hell of a cricketer, that man, isn't he?
Very good cricketer. Swings the ball both ways, wobble seam, useful with the bat. Yeah, been a fantastic cricketer for many years now, and also creates a nice bit of rough as well if you've got an off spinner.
Can bat as well.
Yeah, the amount of times we used to have Jeetan Patel at Warwickshire when he would fire it into that rough and get wickets, and a little bit of assistance from Keith Parker's foothold. Sometimes it went against us when another side had an off spinner and they batted last on it. So.
Slater in from the Vauxhall end. Forward comes the left-handed Ryan Patel. Well, of course, Surrey had that game here where they were desperately trying to stay up and produced a Turner. And Ollie Rayner took 15 in the game. Dear Ollie. And Hashim Amla actually was the only one who worked it out really in the second innings and played him like a quick. Stood outside the off stump and hooked him, because he was literally bowling it and it was going straight up and turning, and Hashim in the second inning, I seem to remember, batted outside his off stump and was hooking the off spinner. As over the wicket once again comes Snater, and this one's left alone outside the off stump. Then Nottinghamshire did it up at Trent Bridge when Ravi Ashwin was playing, and Amar Verdi took 16 and I think Ashwin took 14 and Surrey won.
There was only 2 wickets in the whole game up at Trent Bridge that fell to seam.
That's what I remember, yeah.
And I think it was Slater to Morley Morkel both times.
Was it? A poor lad. I just remember Ashwin, and then Amar, he sort of slightly out-bowled Ravi Ashwin, which I don't think Nottinghamshire were really had in their plans. This one's left alone by Ryan Patel outside his off stump. And into the gloves it goes once more of Rossington, moving away to his left-hand side. But no, Keith Parker's always a cricketer I've really enjoyed watching. Can bat as well, that's the other thing. And just a really, always comes across as a good fella as well.
He is very good at football.
Yeah, well, he was pro, wasn't he?
Yeah, he used to play professional football, and he always used to let you know about it as well in warm-ups.
Was he? Could you tell he played professional football?
Yeah, in fairness, you could. He just had something a little bit different in the skills. And
over the wicket once again comes Snater, pushed into the offside by Ryan Patel. Good running from Ryan Patel and Tom Laws. Quick single taken there as Paul Walter was deep at extra cover, and they've gone straight away. And Patel moves on to 26, and Surrey move on to 94 for 2 after 27 minutes of play this morning. So Surrey started the day on 85 for 2. So they've added 9 this morning. There is a bit of tension about the place this morning. I think everybody's sort of, what's going to happen? Because of the game, really. Where every time you think you know what's happening, something the complete opposite happens. As over the wicket goes Snater to Laws, beats the edge as Laws pushes forward. Again, bounce and movement for Snater. As we were saying, what would have been really, really wobbly and tense, and is if it'd been up around 200, the lead. 161, you thought, well, actually that's within sight, but 200, another 40-50 on top of this would have made it very interesting. Still could be with 67 needed.
I think that's where you look at Will Jacks's innings.
Yeah, absolutely is. Over the wicket once again comes Snater, forward comes Laws, solidly again, just playing this one back up the pitch, and there's no run. End of the over, 94 for 2 then, Surrey. Laws has 3. Patel's 26 not out, and it means Surrey need a further 67 runs for victory.
Yeah, impressive start from both teams, if I'm honest. Surrey with that sort of day one mentality of just batting. They're in no rush. Saw the last over, Ryan Patel just dropping into the covers and taking a quick single. So nice and proactive from that point of view, and in fairness, not a bad start as well from Essex. They're challenging the defences. They've had half a chance already. When Laws was driving Snater, who's used to crease quite well, Snater actually.
Yes.
Just trying to sucker the batsman into playing something he doesn't really need to play. It'll be Sam Coote to continue from that pavilion end.
It will be coming over the wicket to Ryan Patel, who's forward and plays this one back up the pitch, and there's no run. Thank you to Richard, who sent me a sort of rain radar. There does look a bit of rain coming about 1 o'clock. Yeah, so that'd be interesting, wouldn't it? 94 for 2. I don't think it's here all day, but there is a band of rain coming across the country at the moment, I think. 2 slips in there for Sam Cooke. Comes into Ryan Patel, and Patel forward punching. Doesn't really time this. And that rolls up to Jamie Porter at a wideish mid-off, and there's no run.
Yeah, just looking over to the right a little bit. It's a bit grey, but that's normally tend to have passed us by. It's normally at the back of the OCS it used to come from.
Yeah, good indeed.
Used to have a thing at Warwickshire as well, where Ashley Giles didn't like you talking about the rain because you're losing your focus.
Right. As in, once again comes Cooke driving. Is the left-handed Patel to mid-off.
So we used to have a little sort of like code word, and it was, "Are Swansea playing at home today?" So it'd be like, "Are Swansea playing?" I think they are, yes. Have they got a good chance of winning? Really good chance of winning, that sort of thing.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
We're going to see, again, Tom Westley. He tried last night to get the ball changed, and again he's gone to umpire Russell Warren, throwing him the ball, who then throws it to umpire Peter Hartley.
Just thinking, anybody who played against Warwickshire in your day must have thought you were all Sunderland fans or Swansea fans.
It is going to be a ball change.
Yeah, now that's interesting.
That is interesting. We've seen it a couple of times in this game, and really the ball hasn't, for this innings for Essex particularly, it hasn't really swung.
No.
And we've seen consistent swing all game. So it'll be interesting to see what they get given now. 45 overs old. You never know what's in the box to choose from. There's been so many ball changes.
Yeah, they've got their box of balls now, the umpires, just working their way slowly through them to try and find a ball of around about 46 overs old. Must ask, has anybody seen Mr. Dick Davis this morning? No. I've been busy all morning. I'm not sure Mr. Davis is here at the moment. He might be doing his update next door, I suppose. Mr. Coney is there. What we'll do, Rick Clark, is we'll give you a break now and bring in Jeremy Coney. Mr. Coney, have you seen Mr. Davis this morning? Dick Davis. Oh, he is here. Oh, excellent. Lovely. Right, excellent. I haven't seen him as yet this morning. Oh no. Yeah. Oh, no, you're all right. So Jeremy Coney with us again here on BBC Radio London, BBC Radio Essex and the Surrey live stream. Good morning to you, Mr. Coney.
Morning, Churchy. Morning, everyone.
Quiet start.
Well, I wouldn't have started this way myself.
Right.
Not that I wanted a noisy start,
Yes.
but I wanted a start that would get me a wicket.
Right.
I mean, from Surrey's perspective, the job is pretty clear, isn't it? I mean, they've got to get the runs any way they can, whether it's singles or twos or about the odd boundary, but then try to start well.
So Sam Cook with this different ball now, and the first one left alone outside the off stump.
Start well because you want to settle the guys down, basically, to what is quite a small chase, you know. And Essex have got the more difficult task, obviously, this morning because, well, they just haven't made enough runs in the match that they would like, certainly. So the first thing, I think, is get rid of the night watchman. Let's call Laws that. As quickly as you can. You don't want him to have a little partnership of 15 to 20 here.
Cook is into Patel, and Patel thinks about the quick single. There isn't one there. He pops it out towards Dan Lawrence at cover point.
And I think if I looked around the bowling attack that I've seen from Essex, I would say that Harmer has the best chance of dismissing the lower order players. He should provide just too many difficulties for them, to having to wait a bit longer, having to see the length of the ball a lot more, rather than getting settled and getting unaccustomed to medium paces, if you know what I mean.
No,
and Laws does that.
As Cook is in to Patel, Patel's forward, plays this one straight back up the pitch, and there's no run.
And you've got at the other end, after all, a left-hander and turning the ball away from him. So I think, for me, Harmer should have opened the bowling today from the pavilion end. He seems to want that end, so that's good. I mean, the seamers are quite happy to punch up from the other end, and Worrell's got lots of wickets from the Vauxhall end, so that's okay too. That fits in. I mean, in a moment they're going to have they just changed the bowling at the far end, have they?
No, they've changed the ball. That was the interesting thing, but no, they haven't as yet.
Okay, but they're going to have to in a moment, aren't they, to give one of them a rest to come around behind the other. So, and I did think last night there was one ball from Harmer to Laws where he played a drive in that last over and it went on the onside. He was defeated by the ball in length and it got an inside edge and it skewed away onto the onside, and that's the sort of delivery, that's where you want your man, close to the pitch, halfway up the pitch, so that a drive he doesn't get to could perhaps result in a catch.
Snater coming into Laws, and Laws is clipping this nicely through the leg side and away for four. And Harmer, as he played that shot, Simon Harmer sat down at second slip and started stretching his legs. So he's going through his stretches now, is Simon Harmer. So I think next over we will see Harmer, but that's nicely put away by Tom Laws. It's the first boundary of the day. Laws moves on to 7 and Surrey move on to 98 for 2.
Well, he's not a complete tail ender, is he, Laws? And he showed us that in the first innings. But you don't want that sort of stroke to be happening. I mean, it's a handy little boundary. And I would have had Cook and Snater and Porter lining up at this end while Harmer. And if he went for a couple of runs, I can change things. It's not a big deal.
Snater in again to Laws, and Laws again clips this nicely to the right of mid-on. Round comes Wesley to do the fielding. Laws will move on to 8 and Surrey move on to 99 for 2.
And I think I'd say to my seamers, keep off the pads. I do not want runs to go on the leg side. I want as many field as I can on the right, on the offside, so that I can keep pressure on. And I'll encourage you to pitch the ball up. I'll give you a mid-off, and if I have to give you a straightish cover, I don't care. And I don't want you to bowl 6 stump out there, because that means we're going to go down to third man. So I want that to be nice and tight, the line to be tight, and they have to bowl. Well, you have to when you've only got 76 to defend. So that's, I think, how I would approach it. And I think the cordon to the seamers is a bit deep.
In over the wicket comes Snater to Patel. Short one, he just sways inside this.
And it brings up for me the catch that was dropped. A couple of things that I notice. I'm not a fan of hands on knees. as a slip fieldsman. I think it disrupts and separates what I would call the unit.
Right.
The unit is two hands together. That's how you take catches in the slips, where hands are together to form one. Now, as soon as you put your hands on your knees, of course, you've separated that. And that means...
Over the wicket comes Snater once again to Ryan Patel, and Patel pops this one into the offside, and there's no run.
That means that any catch that is wide of you, one hand has to move a great deal further than the other. So it's often late.
Yep.
And that means, in essence, you are forced to take catches outside of your knees, particularly, with one hand.
Yes.
And slip catches are meant to be held by two hands.
Snater, over the wicket he comes, again to Patel, short one. Patel had a think about this one, having a hook, but it's over his shoulder and into the gloves of Rossington once more.
So that was the problem I thought there, because it actually went quite quickly. That was the difficult part of that, and I know I'm kind of contradicting myself in saying some of the slips are a little bit, too far away. But he was actually quite close. It went quite quickly, and he was forced outside his knees, and he put it down. He got one hand to it quite nicely, actually. Got moved there well. The other hand was nowhere in sight.
Snater in over the wicket again. Another short one. Patel lets this go. Another no ball. No ball signal by umpire Hartley. Says you can't play a shot at that. It's just too short. And that's the 100 up for Surrey. So 101 for 2. And Surrey requires 60.
Last point. I'm sorry. This is didactic, isn't it?
No, absolutely brilliant.
So the other thing I would say is I don't like hands on knees. How many times do we see slips nowadays? Legs quite wide apart. You'll see them go down and hands will go onto knees. Now, that gives what I call heel strike. All the weight goes through the back of your legs once you get your hands on your knees, down onto your heels. Now,
round the wicket comes Snater once again. And this one's turned into the leg side by Ryan Patel. He'll pick up a single. That will be the end of the over. You continue, Mr. Coney. All I would say is, the other thing I'm not a fan, hands on knees, team photos. Can't bear it. When I was at school as well, that front row, get your hands on it, always looks rubbish 20 years down the line. Dreadful. Absolutely dreadful.
Okay.
Jeremy Coney to
Good
continue with these slip tactics for everybody, and in a moment he'll be joined by Dick Davis.
Excellent. That's lightened the load, hasn't it, everybody? It's excellent. But what happens with heel strike? Slips should be, to me, ready to make an athletic movement, a quick athletic movement. You haven't got much time in the slips, so you should be ready. A sense of readiness about it. And I think when your hands are on your knees, dancers, where have they got their weight? Where they're making movements, they're on the balls of their feet, they're on the front. Where do boxers, where are they in the ring? To avoid things quickly, they're on the balls of their feet. That's where you want to have your weight. And you want to have your elbows in front of your knees so your hands can move together as a unit either side. Now, if you don't have those basic things right, I think your percentage of catching in the slip cordon goes... The slip catching in this match hasn't been great. We've talked about catches dropped. We talked about Will Jacks dropped. A one-handed attempt that went down from Cook. There are other catches we've seen that have gone down as well, and they haven't been difficult catches. I just think in England, with the ball moving as it does, either in the air or off the surface with the grassy nature of your pitches here, where are most of the wickets likely to fall? In that cordon. And you've got to be good at doing those things. The only reason I've learned these things over the years in the hard way is because of Hadley. We had to catch every catch that came off an edge as much as we could, because he was the one who was most likely to do it.
As Harmer moves in and bowls, and that's how it worked away on the onside. That's absolutely fascinating, Jeremy. And I've instantly, or at the same time as hanging on your every word, which is really interesting, I've also written down 3 questions about slip fieldings for you sometime in the next my half-hour stint. And
we've got Harmer. We've got Harmer on now, Dick.
Harmer, yep.
Let's see how it goes. He's bowling to the left-hander now.
To my mind, and I think that's what you were saying when I came into the box, he should have been on half an hour ago. That's just
Well,
worked away in the offside.
I mean, everyone has their own opinions
Well, of
about
course.
those things, and that's absolutely fine as well. It's just, I think, that they wanted clearly to have a slow start. They didn't want, Surrey to get away to a flyer.
No, that's just worked away on the offside. No addition to the score of 102, so for 259 more needed to win.
My impression was, though, that Harmer hasn't been giving lots of runs either.
No.
Hasn't been giving runs away.
No, that's right.
So I think he could have been equally as tight.
Moves in now round the wicket, and that's just nudged away on the offside. They go through for quite a quick single there, but they were home and dry comfortably enough in the end. As Laws is on 8 and Patel on 28. Surrey 103 for 2.
Now, I'm interested here. Is there a man on the edge of the pitch or just to the left, just on the side of the pitch? He's coming in closer. Hang on, he's moving in there. No, he's actually staying more for a clip rather than a drive from outside off stump.
Yes. And the batsman comes down the wicket there, gets the pitch a bit Laws, and hits it away for 6 towards the pavilion.
Yep. Good stroke. Made a very definite movement to attack.
Certainly did.
And got to the pitch of Harmer. Harmer now has a little question in his mind. Can he bowl a bit wider? Can he bowl a bit slower? And draw and lure the batsman out to a mistake. If you have to drop the man back to 2/3 of the way, that's okay as well. You can bring your field into play. It's not the end of the world.
Harmer now goes over the wicket. And Laws has picked up another couple of runs here down to fine leg. And of course Laws is in the enviable position. He came in as night watchman. He's really, this is the opportunity. I think we were talking about it last night, that night watchmen love to show the teammates and the powers that be in the corridors of power that I'm worth something better than coming in at number 9. I can bat, and he's just demonstrating that. Now I'll see if we can get through some of my points. So you don't like fielders with their hands on the knees.
Well, I prefer them not to.
So
yes.
why do they do it in their eyes?
Comfort.
Just comfort, nothing else. Right. What do you think?
But I think that at the same time they are therefore compromising the best job that they could do.
Yes, quite. And another innovation, you don't see it frequently, but you see it from time to time, slips actually physically kneeling on the ground.
Yes. I haven't seen that much.
No, I haven't.
I've seen them round about the bat in close to a spinner on the knees.
But yes, Trescothick, Mark just says as he walks by, there are a few instances now, to my mind, that...
How do you move?
Well, you don't, do you? You can't.
Right.
No. So I can't see the logic of that. But on the other hand, if people like Marcus Trescothick did it, then obviously at the time there is reason. That is clipped away in the onside for 2 more runs, so the runs becoming a little bit more freely now. And I also, you won't have time to discover it now because we'll both be going our separate ways within the hour, but I have a stable full of hobby horses, and one of my hobby horses is that people say that one-day cricket has improved fielding. That's just played defensively. Now I agree 100% that it's improved outfielding vastly, but because of one-day cricket, there's no such thing as now your specialised slip fielder, or to a far lesser extent. There was a time when a cricketer would spend literally his whole career when he was in the field in the slips, never field anywhere else. So quite understandably, he became rather good at the art, and now that you don't really have specialist slip fielders as such. Would you go along with that?
Well, that was me. You've just described me, always at second slip.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
When a slower bowler came on, I went to sort of short cover.
Yes. It's just played out in the offside.
So look, I think certainly the outfielding. The modern cricketer is a lot fitter, quicker,
yes,
more athletic, and they get across the ground faster. They're wonderful around the boundary now. The catches that we see taken around the boundary, they're quite miraculous, aren't they?
Oh, some of these combinations of two fielders, yes.
You get synchronised swimmers together. And that's lovely to watch as well, and that's an improvement totally in the game.
Yes, Porter moves in round the wicket to Patel, who doesn't make contact. I hesitated because I wasn't quite sure, and it was a good diving stop there by Adam Rossington.
So what we're seeing here at the moment is a line of attack that I was not proposing. It was they're actually looking to that leg stump at the moment because they've got two mid wickets, just about sort of 3 metres apart, both catching but not moving in, both static when the bowler bowls, but they're going to leg side to try and attack someone in his strength.
Porter in again to Patel. Patel's picked up certainly one run here, yes, just one, as Paul Walter makes ground to his right at mid-off to field it at sort of extra coverish.
And that's the problem in a way, because they've used too many fielders in the leg side attacking him there. As soon as the bowler just moves back to the offside, then there's a big gap there, you see, and that's why I feel there should be an extra man over and bowl in that kind of area a lot more. So but I even slow bowlers, I don't think we have so many people who know how to field at bat pad now.
No.
You see, when a batsman goes down the pitch, as Laws did there, no one went with him.
No.
As a fielder.
As Porter over the wicket now to the right-handed Laws, more runs here. In fact, 4 of them. I thought maybe that Nick Brown was in with a chance there, but the shot was played far too effectively, and because it wasn't too effectively for it to be stopped, I mean, and although it wasn't very far away from Nick Brown, he never really stood a chance of getting round to it on the side that is relatively short. So almost as soon as I take on the microphone, Essex have accelerated. But on the other hand, I got the impression just from talking to the head coach last night, Anthony McGrath, although admittedly though he is one of the most realistic, down-to-earth men in professional cricket, and almost refreshingly so. And I mean, he admitted, that he didn't actually admit, well, we're probably going to lose tomorrow, but he did at least say, well, it's going to need almost a miracle. And I pointed out that 4 years ago we did have a miracle here, and he said, yeah, that's it, we're waiting for a repeat. But anyway, Harmer moves in and bowls, and that's just played backward of square on the offside.
Harmer still hasn't recovered from that drive from Laws. He's just dropped his length a bit. He's got a little bit flatter. His response to the next ball to Laws was to go leg side, and he was tucked away for 2.
That's just played totally defensively by Patel.
All bowlers have that, don't they? They don't like being hit.
No.
And so they've got to work out the response. I remember some of the spinners that I had to confront as well, like Bishan Singh Bedi from India. I'm sorry, I was just sort of going to raptures. That was, to my mind, that was just poetry in motion watching him. But when you're 22 yards away, you probably don't think of it in that way. Beautiful arc and beautiful use of the wrist to just undercut the ball. But he would actually applaud you.
Would he?
If you hit him for 6.
Was that sort of genuine applause, or was it sort of mockery?
No, encourage you to have another go. Now I've got a chance.
Yes.
Just a different way of viewing it.
Yes. Yes, I also had the pleasure of meeting him. He was playing in a charity match down in Essex somewhere, many years after he'd retired. Most charming of men. As that's just pushed back to the bowler, Harmer. 118 for 2, just 43 needed to win.
Harmer, of course, when he bowls to the left-handed Patel, is having to land the ball on the better part of the surface, more in the middle of the pitch.
Yes. Patel plays that defensively, trickles out on the offside. We do have a bat pad there in which is Brown. Now again, getting back to that bat pad, it often seems that they don't necessarily put whom they think is going to be very good there, but almost quite the opposite, the least experienced. Sometimes the rookie who comes into the side, almost as if it's part of an initiation ceremony.
They do that, yes. That seems to be, well, the stories that are told, whether they're apocryphal or not, or whether no one wants to go there because of the chance of an injury.
Yes.
Maybe they feel some of their bowlers and so on shouldn't get in there for that reason. They don't want to have an injury. But you need to specialise in there.
Yes.
And you'll see that a lot of work goes on with the bat pads prior to the start of play.
Porter to Laws, and that's just played very elegantly, and it just evaded Paul Walter at mid-off, and he's now given hot pursuit and doesn't quite catch up with it, even with his long legs. And so 4 more runs.
Laws has played some very nice strokes in the last 2 or 3 overs. The dancing out to drive Harmer and unsettle his length and his flight, that was very effective. It earned him another 2 the next ball just down leg side, and then a lovely tuck away for 4 off the seamer who lost his line.
As Porter moves in and bowls to him again, and that's clipped away on the onside. So if Laws, apart from hoping to win this game for his side, is trying to impress that he's worth something better than a number 9, he's making a good job of it this morning. He's certainly seizing his opportunity. Yep.
24 off 39 deliveries, whereas you look at Patel, 31 off 156. Different type of innings entirely it had to be. And he's done his job as well.
Yeah, but a different weight of expectation as well, isn't there? Yes. I mean, Patel is doing exactly what's expected of him. Laws, as I say, is seizing his opportunity to show what he can do as Porter moves in round the wicket to Patel, who plays it out into the covers. The throw comes in from Paul Walter at the stumps. He sort of looks to the heavens at the fact that he just missed, but I think probably Laws had regained his ground.
So just what, 38 runs away now for Surrey?
Yes.
Yes, he almost felt like I'm afraid of it's bolted.
Well, yes, I think it has bolted. I think it bolted a long time ago, really. I mean, I find over the years that, I know professional cricketers look upon it, either they do look upon it in a different way, or they're just sort of trained to look at it upon a different way. But as a spectator, I find you can usually tell when one side is pretty obviously going to win the game. I know sometimes it can be a twist in the tail.
I think you're right. I think the more you play, you tend to make the decision upon the result or how the game is going to conclude earlier and earlier. Yes. And I used to fight against that.
Yeah,
Paddles used to do that a lot. And Richard would know by the day 3 of a test match where it was going. No, I don't think so. No. Lots can happen here. A run out can happen.
Yes.
A mistake.
Yes, I mean, from the player's point of view rather than the spectators, just play defensively. From the player's point of view rather than the spectators. I mean, the spectators can look at it more objectively, can't they? Whereas the players, as soon as they start thinking we're going to lose this game, then they will.
So you've got to have your players a lot of belief in that things are possible.
Yes.
And it is the art of the possible, I think cricket is. You'd never quite know if that catch had been taken. Who knows what might have occurred.
Yeah.
Laws has now sort of developed, hasn't he, since then?
Porter moves in, bowls to him, and another. It's not going to bring him any runs, but it's a very pleasant looking off drive and full flow of the bat. Yes, he looks a good prospect when he bowled, and looks to me as if he's going to be a genuine all-rounder in the years that lie ahead, of which there are plenty. He's only, 22, 23?
Well, he's certainly he's shown just in this innings that he's able to play on the leg side quite comfortably. We saw him play a lovely back cut in the first innings that went away for a boundary, and then a slog sweep for 4. He's come down the pitch, another type of skill, hitting Harmer back over his head for 6, and very clean stroke. And since then we've seen a drive and a tuck on the leg side, so he's starting to show us a range of shots that are certainly all-round-ish.
Yes, but Mark tells me he's only 19. I don't mean that Mark is, I mean he must be nearer 30.
Yeah,
well. That's bowling round the wicket by Harmer, just played out defensively. But Laws is 19, yeah.
Well, he looks a very natural cricketer, doesn't he?
He does.
Even with his run-up and his bowling, and he just bounds in.
Yes,
and very, I mean, untrained at the moment.
And that's just worked away on the onside by Patel, picked up by Walter.
But I quite like that.
Yes.
That the fact that it's not really cloned and trained to look like a bowler immediately.
Quite. As that's just played solidly defensively. Patel 32, Laws 25, 1, 2, 4 for 2, needing a further 37, with another 5 playing hours in which to get them, more or less.
This pitch hasn't really deteriorated.
It hasn't,
too
has
much.
it? No. And that's just pushed out on the offside, just backward of square.
That's taken an outer edge though, so
Well,
that's the area I think that's just outside off stump for Harmer and for Patel. That's an area, and you need a gully then.
Harmer moves in, bowls to him, and just played out on the onside again.
I'm not sure whether this attack, which has a leg slip, is really encouraging Harmer to bowl at that area I've just been talking about.
No.
I think you'd rather have a gully in there.
That's worked away down to...
There it is there too.
Yes. Just went down to third man where it's, or shortish third man where it's Snater.
The other thing I think in these sorts of situations, as a captain, you need to make decisive changes. You, there.
Yes.
Come in a pace. Why? There. I want you there, and make it very clear for the players that they're in the right place to do things, and then talk to your bowler about, I think this is what we need to do now. How do you feel about that? You've got to allow the bowler space.
Yes.
He's got to be happy with what the plans are and feel comfortable that he's able to achieve it.
Yes. Are you advocating the fact that the captain should be very much and very obviously the man in charge on the field?
Well, I think in a day like today,
yes,
where players need to be worked well to say you've got to have a very clear plan of what needs to be done, especially when you've got a tight situation like this. I think players look to someone to say, well, at least we're doing something here. We know what we're trying to do.
But very often, we'll come back to that after this delivery from Porter, which is just played straight. And it's, I thought it was just going to be a defensive push. Well, it wasn't much more than a defensive push, but it was in that narrow gap between the stumps and the mid-off, and it went for 4. So superbly timed by Patel.
That's right. It was the timing, wasn't it?
Yes.
And it shows you actually that this pitch has retained its pace, hasn't it?
Yes.
You don't get a shot like that, which is more of a checked drive rather than the big flowing follow-through. He got that past the mid-off, who's relatively deep. And he's a tall fella. Is that Walters there?
That's Walter, yes. Paul Walter.
And he's left-handed.
Yes. That's played solidly defensively. Yeah, well,
so it's to his left. He should feel comfortable with the ball on that left.
Yes. Yeah, what I was going to say, sometimes you see, in fact, not infrequently, I've seen it several times in this game, where... especially when there's a seam bowl bowling, and you've got either a third man or a fine leg, and sometimes the keeper will be indicating, go finer or go straighter, or even one of the slips might do. And I'm inclined to think, well, is that your job? That's the skipper or the bowler's job, not the wicket keepers or the slips, as that's worked away on the onside. I mean, whether it turns out to be the right plan or the wrong plan, you must only at the instant of any delivery.
That's a fair point, but I do think the keeper is one of those people, because where he stands, which is kind of almost in line with the batsman, the angles are quite easy to see, and if your captain is at mid-off, sometimes those angles you just miss perhaps the time, and so I think you talk to your keeper about those sorts of things that they can do.
Yeah, right. Okay. Porter to Laws, and another splendid shot. It's only going to pick him up a single, but it was played with great confidence by the young man, down to wide third man.
He's looking as if he's very at ease out
Yes.
there in this situation at the moment. In fact, he's kind of taking over, and Patel's the one who's more the supportive man at this stage.
Yes. I mean, some players come into either county cricket or, I suppose it's more obvious in Test cricket, when a new player will come in, and sometimes you can tell, irrespective of how that's just played out in the offside, how he bats or how he bowls, just his general demeanour as to whether he's comfortable in that environment or distinctly uncomfortable, and that usually betrays itself pretty early on in his appearance. I can think of several, I won't mention them, who've been put in the England side, and you think, you just don't look as if you're quite happy there, and you may not last, and more often than not they don't. Not that I'm saying I'm the greatest observer of the game, but maybe they just make it pretty evident. That's just played back to Porter. 131 for 2, exactly 30 more needed to win. The end of the over, end of my stint, and after a few more words from Jeremy, he'll be joined again by Mark Church.
Yes, so this has turned into a good partnership this morning. There was the outside potential of perhaps it being slightly an awkward chase today, but that hasn't eventuated. The one chance that was put down, perhaps, it wasn't an easy chance. It was quite a sharp one in the slips, but down it went. And since that moment, Laws has, and also since Harmer has come on, now it's interesting. Now he's facing him again. I see mid-on has gone back, so he's got that cover.
Harmer is in to Laws. That does turn, as Laws was going back to punch that through extra cover, and it spun back sharply at him. He got a little inside edge on it. The other thing that Laws has done here is taken all the pressure off Ryan Patel. Yes. He's gone out there. He's played very sensibly. He can bat, no doubt whatsoever about that. As Harmer is into him, tosses this one up, and Laws, good shot, just works this down towards long on. That I like that. I like the fact that they've stuck the long in there for him, and he's just quite happy to work that one down to long on, stroll a single. 48, the partnership.
And that's why the man should be on the edge of the pitch. He'll stop that, and he also is in the game with a catch, a potential catch, if that stroke is not timed.
Harmer is into Patel, and Patel, that hits the thigh guard, rolls away into the leg side. I was listening to your discussion about sort of the close catches. And I remember when NASA gave up the captaincy, and then his first game back, he was in there at short leg.
Yes.
Didn't look like getting near anything. Gucci did the same thing. Straight in. These days, though, they practice for hours. It was, is there an edge on that? There is. Ryan Patel has gone. Just a bit of extra bounce from Simon Harmer, and Ryan Patel just pushed at that little thin edge, and Ryan Patel goes. And Patel gone for 38, 29 more needed, but just a bit of extra bounce, bit of turn, nicely bowled that by Simon Harmer. Rossington does the rest, but Ryan Patel's played well there. He really has. He'll be disappointed to have gone when he has. He'd have loved to have just seen Surrey over the line, but it was the job he did last night as much as today. And Patel goes for 38. Essex have their first wicket, and Surrey are 132 for 3.
Yes, it's the kind of dismissal you sometimes get when you leave a certain area open in the field, perhaps a backward point where you would think the ball would go to quite a lot, that Patel, would just go to push it in and get a single, and that's all he was looking for. It wasn't a really powerful, aggressive stroke. It was really a defensive shot, just angled down into that area to get a run. And if it's open, of course, that's encouraging him to play the stroke, but it also brings in the other component, which of course is the edge, and that's what was taken there. Well taken by Rossington. The ball bounced just a little bit more.
Well, just to say, I think we know what's coming, because Jamie Overton's marching out there now. So I think this is, let's get this done and dusted. So Jamie Overton won't be prodding the ball back to Simon Harmer. Of course, England's number 3 has just dropped down the order a touch there for Jamie Overton. But I did wonder whether if it got close, they would just send out Overton to swing at it with the old long handle. Although in the first innings, of course, Mr. Harmer did him all ends up. So this will be entertaining, if nothing else, from Mr. Overton against Mr. Harbour.
Well, let's bring Ricky in.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Coney.
A hitter in his own skin.
Mr. Coney, yes. I've got something to tell you as well when we're off air. As in over the wicket comes Harmer, and here we go. Overton sweep straight away, hits the pad, shout for LBW, but he's outside the line. So all of a sudden, sort of the game has gone. He's only played one shot, but the game has gone from first gear into 8th gear at the moment. Field's spread out for that shot, but Overton, that's his job here, is to come out club a couple, I think. As here is Harmer over the wicket to Overton. Here he goes. Oh, Simon Harmer, that's going to hurt. Jamie Overton has drilled that back and hit Harmer on the ankle. Oh dear, he got a big boot on that. Jamie Overton just checking Harmer's all right. But Overton was straight down the pitch, and as I say, we've been dawdling along in the inside lane, and suddenly we've dropped into 5th gear, got into the outside lane and putting our foot down. Welcome back, Ricky Clark. 133 for 3. Good innings that from Ryan Patel.
Yeah, really good innings. You alluded to last night the work he did with captain Rory Burns. It's always important to get off a good start when you're chasing a total, and both Rory Burns and Ryan Patel did that last night. And again, the partnership that he built with the very impressive Tom Laws this morning. Really good all-round cricketer, Tom Laws. First, I've really sort of seen him fully. Amazing skills with the ball, and he can show he can bat as well. And obviously, Jamie Overton comes in.
Yep.
It's going to be some fireworks, and Critchley comes into the attack now.
That's the other thing. So with Overton on strike now, Critchley comes into the attack, bowling his leggies. So Mr. Coney and Dick were having a chat about short leg fielders. And one of the best I've ever seen was for Saki and Ian Salisbury was Nadeem Shahid. He was unbelievable in there, wasn't he, under the helmet?
I think when you've got world-class spinners, it's not a case of going, oh, you're the youngest in, you go. I think it's a specialist position. You see that at slip. The specialists go in there.
That's Critchley. In he comes to Overton, who backs away and cuts down towards backward point. They'll take the single. Porter gets round to his left to do the fielding. And one more to the total, 134 for 3.
And I think it's no different. You look at Nick Brown, he's incredibly good in there, and he's a specialist. Surrey have it as well with the likes of Will Jacks, who's taken some fantastic catches throughout his short career.
Ollie Pope seems to have the role now for England as well, doesn't he? He's also got helmet cam now, Ollie Pope, for the last Test match, yes. As leg slip goes in as well, as Critchley is into Laws, who's punching off that back foot. They take the quick single. Here goes Laws, scampering the throw from Porter. If that had hit, that could have been tight, but it didn't. And 26 more needed now by Surrey, 135 for 3. James Taylor, of course, was brilliant in there for England, wasn't he?
I think it's always important you have a specialist.
Absolutely.
These are big opportunities in games that if you've got a specialist in there, can take a half a chance.
As Critchley's in, and Overton looks to cut, beats the edge, taken by Rossington. I remember Michael Slater for Australia was brilliant. David Boone as well was unbelievable in there. As over the wicket again goes Critchley. Here goes Overton using his feet. Well bowled by Critchley. Saw him coming a little bit flatter, and Overton just pushed that one back down the pitch. He took a brilliant catch when Shane Warne got that hat-trick. Devon Malcolm. As swing and a miss from Jamie Overton, looking for the slog sweep. He was nowhere near that, and that's taken by Rossington, and the bails come off. So 3 men are back for that shot. Looking to go against the spin, leg side there was Jamie Overton. Critchley is over the wicket to him once more. That's short. This is swung for 6 by Jamie Overton. He's such a strong boy, Jamie Overton. I'm not even sure he's got all of that. And that has gone all the way into the stands for 6. And Surrey need 20 more. It's 141 for 3.
Yeah, lovely shot there from Jamie Overton. Just sort of rocked back from a short ball from Critchley. And as you say, I don't think he got all of it. It looked quite high on the bat, almost spliced it a good 70-80 yards over the rope for a nice 6, which leaves Surrey just needing 20 more runs to win.
Yeah, and they've done it very well this morning. Surrey, Simon Harmer will continue down there from the pavilion end. Tom Laws, impressive this, 28 not out from 46 deliveries. He's waiting over his bat is Laws, and Harmer's in, and Laws is forward and just pops this one out into the offside.
I think what's been very impressive, and when I come back to Surrey in 2017, is the maturity of the young cricketers at the club. You know, Tom Laws has come down the wicket and he's hit Simon Harmer over his head, long on goes back and he just pushes it down the ground for one. It's just, they always think about the game.
Quicker. This one, Laws turns it into the leg side. I always enjoy it because you get told names that are coming through and but I remember with Ollie Pope as well. People weren't mentioning huge amounts about Ollie Pope, and then you saw him once and you thought, blimey. As in over the wicket comes Harmer. Oh, paddle sweep from Tom Laws. Head down, just little paddle sweep down towards fine leg, and he'll pick up 3. That's confidence for you. He's on to 31. Lovely. 19 years of age. Simon Harmer just paddle sweeps him for 3. Lovely bit of batting. And Surrey 144 for 3.
Execution was fantastic. They've got a leg slipping. And for him to go down and have the confidence to know that he's going to scoop it over the leg slip and just totally take him out of play and trickle along for 3 is a fantastic shot. They've got all the shots nowadays, these youngsters as well.
They're not afraid to play him as well early on, as Harmer is in here to Overton, backs away, and just he had to wait and wait and wait and wait for this, and then he was going to club that, and in the end he just poked it out into the offside, takes his single. So we're down to 16 more needed by Surrey now. 145 for 3. Simon Harmer is over the wicket to Tom Laws, and oh, what a bit of bowling that is. That has turned and bounced and gone past the inside edge. It's a brilliant take from Rossington as well, but that is almost the perfect off break. It's not quite because it didn't get a wicket, but that has absolutely ripped back at Tom Laws as Harmer's in again to him, and Laws beaten on the outside this time with the one that goes on. So it's a great bit of bowling, that. Lovely couple of deliveries those from Simon Harmer. Good keeping from Rossington. End of the over, 145 for 3 Surrey. Tom Laws has 31 and Jamie Overton's on 9. Ricky Clark's alongside, and Surrey need 16 more for victory.
Yeah, been incredibly impressive, Surrey, throughout these 4 days. Down Worrell with the ball, and obviously that innings from Will Jacks that gave Surrey a lead, and then they're just going about their business now, just very sensibly knocked it about for a period of time, took the runs on offer, and now we're seeing a little bit more intent, particularly with Jamie Overton coming to the crease and looking to get it over and done with very soon. They've obviously got the message that the press lounge lunch is at 12:30, so they're trying to help us out there so it doesn't get cold.
Yes, indeed. 145 for 3. Bit of salmon yesterday, wasn't it?
Yeah, a bit of chicken, bit of salmon.
Yeah. I couldn't work out though, because Steve downstairs told me it was crab. I was saying this yesterday, which confused me completely, because it definitely wasn't. And then on the menu, it said trout. But I'm pretty sure it was a pinkish colour. I'm pretty sure it was salmon.
I'm putting it down as salmon, yeah.
Yeah, but actually, well, aren't we lucky, though, to even be discussing such a fish being given to us. Critchley's going to come round the wicket now to Overton. Swing and a miss from Jamie Overton. He was looking to pop that one into about the top tier of the JM fin stand, and head went up and it spun past the outside edge.
I think if he had caught that, that was been thrown back from Vauxhall Station.
He's in again, Critchley. Overton lets this one go outside his off stump, just steps away. The other thing I would mention is the weather. It does feel like it's filling in a touch at the moment. And they did say about 1 o'clock there could be some rain as Critchley's in. Jamie Overton's got hold of this one. Off you go. That's 6. That's into the middle tier of the JM fin stand. That's exactly what he was trying to do to the first ball. In fact, that's gone top tier, I think.
Roof.
That is a huge shot. Has it gone roof?
It hit the roof.
Hit the roof of the JM fin stand.
That is
massive.
Yes.
Well, I'll tell you what, one of the great men of Surrey County Cricket Club, Mr. Stephen Howes, is having to go and find the ball because it's hit the roof. I think the eagle-eyed Stephen Howes has seen. Now, the other reason for this is Stephen Howes likes to keep his balls, so to speak, because he's the man in charge of balls. So he won't want that one to disappear, otherwise he's going to have to go buy another one. So He's off to get that ball, but that is a massive shot from Overton. He's on to 15. That's why he's sent out there. 151 for 3, 10 more required. As Critchley's in, Overton, drives, stick inside edge. It was the googly. That's going to run away for 4 more. Yep, 4 off the inside edge, and it's just one big hit away now for Surrey. 155 for 3, and they've done this very well this morning, Ricky Clark.
Incredibly impressive. You obviously saw the run chase last week at Scarborough, and they've gone about their business really well throughout the game as a whole, really. Everything they've done with the ball, and it's been a cracking game of cricket.
It really has, as Critchley's in, and this is punched off the back foot by Jamie Overton, and that'll run away down towards long off. They're going to come back for 2 more to the total, 2 more to Jamie Overton, so 4 more needed by Surrey. 157 for 3. It's been a tremendous game, as Ricky Clark says, and counter punches and punches from both sides. As here goes Overton trying to finish it with one huge shot, and he's picked out Paul Walter down there at long off. So Walter takes the catch, but Overton's done his job there. That was sort of morning hawk from Jamie Overton, wasn't it? And 21, couple of massive blows. The one that hit the roof was huge, but he's got it down to 4 required for Surrey. And Surrey 157 for 4.
Yeah, nice little cameo there from Jamie Overton. Come to the crease to get on with it, and he's done exactly that. A quick partnership of 25 with him and Tom Laws, and that massive 6 that hit the roof in the J.M. Finn stand. It went right on the top, and I don't think I've ever seen that in my times of playing here. Incredibly strong, powerful young man. And that brings Ollie Pope to the crease, who won't be happy with Jamie Overton one bit. I can't imagine.
Well, as I say, he's just played the morning hawk role for Surrey. So out comes Ollie Pope. And for listeners on BBC Radio 5 Sports Extra who are joining us now, Surrey have sort of got this total down very well this morning. Ryan Patel and Tom Laws, the night watchman, very sensible. Ryan Patel got to 38 and then was caught behind by Adam Rossington off Simon Harmer. And Jamie Overton, quick fire 21 has just gone. So Laws is on strike here to Harmer. That was the last ball of Critchley's over. And this one, Laws just pops out into the offside, and there's no run. So 4 runs from victory now for Surrey. And it's just been a terrific game of cricket as Harmer's in. Forward goes Laws, beats his outside edge. He bowled a delivery to Tom Laws in the last over that spun and bounced and went past the inside edge, and that time he's gone past the outside edge of Tom Laws as Harmer is in once more to Laws. Laws whips this one down the ground, will take a single. Very impressive this from Tom Laws, and he moves on to 32, 158 for 4. Of course, Essex batted first in this game, 271 from them. 6 wickets for Dan Warren, then the 319 for Surrey. That 150 not out from Will Jacks looks even more important now. Essex all out for 208 yesterday, and now Surrey 3 runs away from victory. First delivery for Ollie Pope, and he finishes the game with a reverse sweep for 4, and Surrey beat Essex by 6 wickets. Ollie Pope with a reverse sweep off Simon Harmer that whistles off to the cover point boundary rope for 4. Tom Laws will finish 32 not out. Pope with that boundary finishes 4 not out. Surrey have done that very well this morning. They finish on the board 162 for 4, but it's victory for Surrey by 6 wickets, and Surrey will pick up 22 points from this game at the top of the First Division. And Ricky Clark, cracking game of cricket, but you have to say Surrey have done that very, very well.
Incredibly well. You know, everything about them, that the confidence they've got, the freedom they're given to play their natural games, express themselves from the coaching team, and they will extend their lead at the top of the table. And I can't really see anyone beat them at this stage. You know, they're the only side out of the two divisions unbeaten, and they're playing some fantastic cricket. And just, you know, a word for Tom Laws. He's a young lad, 19, coming into this side, and it looks like he's been playing for years. So mighty impressive from Surrey. Essex had their opportunities. They're also a fine side, and it's been a great 4 days, Churchy, really, to see two very, very good sides going at it head to head. But Surrey have come away with the win, and a well-deserved win, and they extend their lead at the top of the table.
I'm going to take you back to Surrey in trouble. 7 down, in trouble. Then that innings from Will Jacks of 150 not out. And look, it was a special innings anyway, but it's an obvious thing to say. You take that out of it, Essex are probably winning this game of cricket, aren't they? So that innings from Will Jacks just turned the whole game on its head, didn't it?
Massively, and I think, you know, the way he went about his innings and how measured it was, and was very controlled. And then we know the Will Jacks that most people have seen in T20 cricket, how strong he is, and the shots he's got and the power. But I think a big sort of credit goes to those tail enders as well, with Tom Laws and Kemar Roach and Dan Worrell in that first innings, putting on 55 with Tom Laws, did Will Jacks, then an 85 with Roach, and then 67 with Dan Worrell. And those tail enders facing 170 balls between them allowed that 219 runs to be added for those last 3 wickets, and that just sort of changed the complexion of the game. It brought Surrey into a better position with a nice lead, and then obviously the way they bowled that second innings, and there was obviously partnerships along the way for Essex, but Surrey stuck to their guns. And obviously Dan Worrell, very, very impressive, 11 wickets in the match. And then the way they've gone about the run chase is just fantastic, and they're a side that are full of confidence, with fantastic cricketers playing fantastic cricket.
Yeah, and actually, funny enough, it looks like it might rain any minute, so I did enjoy that from Ollie Pope. That's so Ollie Pope, isn't it? First ball, Harmer, bang, reverse sweep, thanks ever so much, walks off. But no, Essex have played their part in this game. Brilliant 100 from Adam Rossington. Shane Slater bowled really, really well the entire game. Always great fun watching Simon Harmer bowl. Word for Dan Worrell as well, 11 wickets in the game from Dan Worrell. You know, that is huge in this game of cricket. But it's Surrey that win by 6 wickets, and congratulations to them. And Surrey have Warwickshire coming here on Monday, but it's been a tremendous 3.5 days. Ricky Clark, thank you to you. It's been an absolute joy, my friend, and fingers crossed we get you back very, very soon. And also good luck with everything with the teaching, and we'll let everybody into a secret now. We were meant to have your book out that I'm writing about you for this season, but we sort of ran out of time. So the good thing is we've done the chapter where you were born, which is excellent. That's as far as we got, but we're hopefully going to get that ready to go for Christmas, so that'll be fantastic. Thank you to Eva Gray, who's been with us as well, and of course Mr. Jeremy Coney, and of course Dick Davis and Paul Newton, who've been with us through these 3.5 days. But the news here from the Kia Oval: Surrey have beaten Essex by 6 wickets. From us all this afternoon, have a great weekend. We'll be back with you on Monday, but from the Kia Oval this afternoon, it's a very good afternoon to one and all.